Ah? Hmm. Hello there. I'm Surang from EnglishWind. And today it is total immersion. And I've taken a very beautiful story from a book that this is Easy English Supplementary Readers, printed in 1971. So those days, we had school texts, and other than that, they have supplied certain materials. This is by Gunasena and written by A.M.G. Siriman and Vijayatunga Somapala. Mr. Siriman was lecturer in English, Vidyalankar University of Sri Lanka, and Vijayatunga Somapala, lecturer in English, Teachers Training College, Maharagama. Very beautiful and beautiful language, very simple. Everybody would understand this naturally. Shall we go to the story? Aha. The story is Androcles and lion. Who is Androcles and what do you mean by lion? So, shall we go? Androcles and the lion. Going to the story. Long ago, there were thousands of slaves in Rome. Long ago, there were thousands of slaves in Rome. Rome, you know what Rome is. Rome. Long ago, there were thousands of slaves in Rome. Slaves in Rome. We are in Sri Lanka. Slaves in Rome. Slave. Who is a slave? What do you mean by a slave? Slave is basically people used to do work. You can buy people those days, and it is legally owned by someone. And if I want a slave, if I want a worker, I can buy a worker those days. Yeah, if I have a good amount of money, lot of money, I can buy a slave. So that happened in those countries. So that is the reason why long ago there were thousands of slaves in Rome. This is Rome. You know, Rome had a lot of constructions, a lot of things happening there. So therefore, Rome need a good number of people. So then they bought slaves, and they were sellers. The job of the sellers were buying and selling. Buying and selling what? Kanu. Buying and selling people. Oh, very bad. Long ago, there were thousands of slaves in Rome. These slaves were men and women, but they were not free. These slaves were men and women. That should be men and women, and but they were not free. They were not free. Yeah, slaves have to do work day and night. You know what slave is? Servants. I mean, basically, we know what servants are. But here, slave means completely, they will be given little amount of food, maybe sufficient food, but always what they had to do is to work hard. Oh, that's great. These slaves were men and women, but they were not free. Slave traders went to Africa. Slave mudalalis went to Africa in a few other countries and caught some of the natives, caught some of the natives. Oh, now you know what's happening there? Slave traders, that is slave mudalalis buying and selling people, slaves, servants. Oh, slave traders went to Africa and a few other countries and caught some of the natives. Caught some of the natives. Native means people living in the particular country or an area. Ah, we are natives, Sri Lankans. Yeah, our country is Sri Lanka. So we are natives here. Native Americans, native Australians, or probably, yeah. But they were not free. Slave traders went to Africa and a few other countries and caught some of the natives. Those cruel traders caught men, women, and children and tied them with chains. Oh, those the traders, the Mudalaris were really cruel. What do you mean by cruel? But that they were cruel. That means very bad. Treating people in a very bad way. They don't think about their feelings. They don't think about whether they are happy or sad. Clear? Yeah. They torture them. They make them really unhappy, causing them pain. Amma! Bishum, bishum. If they are not working, you know what happens? They would hit them. Yeah. Slaves traders went to Africa and a few other countries and caught some of the natives. Those cruel traders caught men, women, and children and tied them with chains. They tied them with chains. Why is that? They cannot flee. They cannot go away. They are tied just like elephants. Yeah. So they have to work there. Oh, very sad. Those cruel traders, very bad traders, caught men, women, and children and tied them with chains. They took those poor people to Rome. They took these poor people, the slaves, from where? Africa. They took those poor people to Rome and sold them at the market. Yeah, just like Wataka. They took those poor people to Rome and sold them at the market. Rich Romans bought them. Rich people bought them. Buying. Yeah. They give money and they take them. Yeah. A slave always lived under his master. Always. Every day. Each and every day. Slave always lived under his master. Under his master. Master is there. Slave is here. Whatever the master says, hey, slave, do this and do that. Then slave had to do this. No option. Oh. A slave always lived under his master. He was a servant all his life. He was a servant all his life. Not one day, not a week, not a month, not 10 years. They have to work for the whole life until they die. A slave always lived under his master. He was a servant all his life. The master of slaves were cruel people. The master of slaves were really, really cruel people, extremely bad in a way, unkind, cause pain to others. They cause pain to others, hit slaves, and so on. They tied the slaves with chains, told you, and often beat them with whips. Whip, just what do we call this? A big cord, long cord. Dishum, dishum. Yeah. When people handling horses, they use whips. Shatang, you know what I mean? Yeah. Very long, yeah. 3 meters or so. Yeah. They use whips. You can see a picture of a whip. I'm going to show you. Yeah, this guy, the controller, has the whip master probably, and often beat them with whips. They did not give the slaves enough food. They did not give slaves enough food. No enough food. They were always hungry. Slaves were always hungry. The slaves had no rest. No, I cannot have rest because I'm telling a story. Otherwise, I can have rest. But slaves, not the case. Always they have to work. These slaves had no rest. He did all the work in the master's house and land. He did all the work in the master's house and land. Not only in master's house, also in the land he had to do the work. Oh, the master did not pay him, but often punished him. The master did not pay him. Here is your salary, here is your money. No, nothing like that. The master did not pay him, but often punished him very cruelly, in a very bad way, causing them pain. Something like that. That's really grave. Not today. We are quite fortunate as we cannot see sort of things. but often punished him very cruelly. So a slave was a very, very unhappy man. So slave was a very unhappy man. He says, so a slave was a very, very unhappy man, he says. The writers say, oh. The story is about a slave. Now we are coming to the real story. The story is about a slave. Now, you know what slave is? This very beautiful story, because first the writers introduce slave. Then you come to know what the slave is. Very good. Very simple language, you understand, right? The story is about a slave. He lived in Rome and his name was Androcles. Androcles. You must have heard of this story. This is a very nice story. His master was a very cruel man. Very, very cruel, if I say. Oh, whose master? Androcles. Androcles' master is very cruel, very bad, a jaragai. Master was a very cruel man. He did not give Androcles enough food. He did not give Androcles enough food. We have food. We eat everything. In the morning, for dinner, we have something. Yeah. And lunch, everything is okay. 3 meals per day we have. But Androcles, probably 1 meal. And it is not sufficient for him to work. But unfortunately, he had to do all the work as master needs. Very cruel man. He did not give Androcles enough food. He did not let Androcles rest or sleep. He did not give the chance. He did not let Androcles rest or sleep. No sleeping, no resting for Androcles. Why is that? He is a slave under a very cruel master. He did not let Androcles rest or sleep. Androcles worked all day and all night. He worked all day and all night. 24 hours, probably nearly 24 hours. He often fell ill. He often fell ill. No Panadol, no Disprin, no aspirin those days, no antibiotics or whatever. He often fell ill. You understand? Then his cruel master became angry. When he became ill, I cannot do work. I have sort of a headache. He often fell ill. Then his cruel master became angry and beat him with sharp whips. Sharp whips. So he wanted to run away. Whips. Androcles' life was full of pain and hardship. Androcles' life was full of pain and hardship. His life was full of pain, you understand? No, full of pain and hardship. So he wanted to run away from the house of his cruel master. So he wanted to run away from this house of his cruel master, bad master. He wanted to be free, just like us. We are free. We can do anything what we want. He is not so. So he wanted to be free. One night, Androcles ran away from his master's house and got out of the city. One night, Androcles ran away from his master's house. He was successful in running away, going away from his master's place. Why? He was unhappy. Why was he unhappy? Because they don't treat him well. They were really bad people, very cruel people, the master and all the other people in that place. So therefore they treated Androcles in a very bad way. So therefore Androcles had an idea to get away from this and to go away from this place. So somehow he managed to do this at a night. Wow. He went on and at last came to a forest. He went on and on. On and on means continuously, on and on, without stopping. Yeah. He went on and at last came to a forest. Now where is he now? He's in a forest. No one can find me now. Oh, No one can find me now. Okay, now I'm a free man, a free guy. I'm free. Androcles is free now. He thought. Is it okay? He went on and at last came to a forest. No one can find me now. Thought Androcles and went far and far into the forest. Far and far into the forest. Far away. We know that far away, a long distance into the forest. Through the forest. Maybe say in kilometers, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 kilometers into the forest, probably. No one can find me now, thought Androcles, and went far and far into the forest. Now he was very tired. Now he was very tired. No one can find me now, thought Androcles, and went far and far into the forest. Now he was very tired and looked for shelter. He looked for shelter. Where can I stay? Shelter is a temporary place, maybe not a room, something, so that he can protect himself from bad weather, rain, hot sun. So that is what we call um, shelter. Shelter. My roof is my shelter, not Shelton. Shelter. Shelter for my head. Yeah, shelter. To cover himself from rain, from hot sun, that is shelter. He wanted to find a shelter because it's raining just like these days. Yeah. Far and find the forest. Now he was very tired and looked for shelter. Then he saw a cave in a rock and went there. Then he saw a cave. You know what cave is? Cave. Galena bindala, lendura harada, sing a ba. Mama then. Yeah. Yeah. Now he was very tired and looked for shelter. Then he saw a cave in a rock and went there. In a rocky area. In a rock there was a cave. You understand what cave is? Androcles lay in the cave and rested. Lay. Lay means lie. Present, lay, past. Lying is basically, when you are tired, when you are sleepy, you are resting in this position, horizontal position. This is vertical. This is horizontal position. Yeah. Then he saw a cave in the rock and went there. Androcles lay in the cave and rested. I will go out of the forest, he thought. I won't go. I will not go out of the forest, he thought. I will not go. I'm not going. I will not go out of the forest. I should be in the forest. Now I'm in the cave, and the forest gives me enough food and everything. Now I'm a free man, free guy. I'm really happy. I'm going out of the forest, he thought. Who thought? Androcles. I will stay in this cave. In a few years, my master will. In a few years mean after few years, maybe 5 years. In a few years, my master will forget me. Master will forget me, master, old man. Master will forget me. Androcles, who is that? Who is that? I can remember. He would say, he will forget me. He thought. I will stay in this cave. In a few years, my master will forget me. Then I will go back. Then I will go back to my hometown. Why not? Then I will go back and live in the city once again. I can go to the city and can live there. Androcles was tired, and in a few minutes, he fell asleep. Fall asleep means going to sleep. Yeah. He fell asleep. Something like that, yeah. See what happens next. There was a loud roar, and Androcles woke up. He sat still and listened. He sat still without moving. without making noise. Still. Still water is, I mean, the water in a place where water is not moving. In a pond, water is still. But in river, water is not still. It is running. Water current. Yeah. Still means not shaky. There was a loud roar and oh! Androcles woke up suddenly. Woke up means, you understand. He sat still and listened. He sat still without moving and listened. He heard the roar again and again. That roar. Grrr, grrr. It is the cry of a fierce wild beast, he thought. It is the cry of a fierce. Fierce means really, really dangerous. Fierce basically is angry and attacking, sort of angry and aggressive, ready to fight. If a wild animal is angry and ready to fight, ready to attack, that is, he's aggressive. Aggressive. Some people are aggressive or do to appear. Yeah, aggressive people. Yeah, woke up suddenly. He sat still and listened. He heard the roar again and again. It is the cry of a fierce wild beast. Wild beast means wild animal. Thought Androcles. And he watched carefully. He watched carefully. He watched carefully. Eh? Eh? Then he saw a huge lion. Huge is really big. Huge lion coming to the cave. Androcles was frightened. And he wanted to run away. He wanted to run away. But the lion saw him. But the lion saw him. Lion saw him and he wanted to run away. Also, lion saw him and walked towards the cave. Walked towards the cave, towards the book. Towards the book. Lion walked towards the cave, to the cave. So Androcles could not run away. Now, lion is at the mouth of the cave. The opening part of lion is entering the cave. So Androcles was helpless. He could not run away. Yeah. The lion came close to the cave and Androcles saw it limping. The lion came close to the cave and Androcles saw it limping, limping. Du-du-dum, du-du-dum, du-du-dum. What is limping? Basically, limping means he cannot walk properly because he has damaged leg or stiff leg. That is, he cannot bend the joints. If you cannot bend the joint of knee of your leg, yeah, that is stiff. Or maybe your leg or your foot damaged. Something has happened. So that is the reason why lion limp. When lion walked, he saw that it was not steady. It was not a good way of usually lions go. Instead, he was using three legs, just like a three-wheeler. The lion came close to the cave and Androcles saw it limping. It could not put on one of his paws on the ground. It could not. It cannot. It could not put one of his paws. Paw is this part of the leg of a quadruped animal, basically mammals, just like dog, just like lion, tiger. This part. Pulung kotta dekatabala. So paw is this part of quadruped animal, just like quadruped is four-legged animal, just like cat, dog, or say lion, tiger. Paw. You know what paw is? Pulong kotta අද්දක තබලා හොරෙන් මාදෙස බලලා මගේ උකුල් තලයට වඩිනා බලලාබිනේ. When we were small, we listened to songs like that. Pulung kotta අද්දක තබලා hemin මාදෙස බලලා මගේ උකුල් තලයට පනිනා බලල්හාමිනේ. I think not වඩිනා. Yeah. So this lion cannot walk steadily, thought Androcles. This lion, it hopped on 3 feet, hopped. The tappa, on 3 feet. This lion cannot walk steadily. Steady This lion cannot walk steadily. Steadily means in a balanced way, in a perfect way, not steady. If lion walks steady, lion should go like this. Now this time lion goes, did, yeah. This lion cannot walk steadily, thought Androcles. Can't, can't I run away? Can I run away? But soon the lion was in front of the cave. Now lion was in front of the cave. He cannot run away. And Androcles could not run away. Androcles could not run away. Androcles was helpless. Your job, your task. Make a comment saying what happens next. 3-4 lines. Okay? I want you to make a comment saying what happens next in the story. Okay, very nice story. This is the first part, and I'm coming with the second part tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Okay, and share, give us a like, subscribe, and most importantly, comment and share the video. Bye.